Aloha, everyone, and welcome to the first broadcast of VOSR International, the voice of shortwave radio. I'm your host, Wavecrest Guy, and this broadcast is transmitted through WRMI, Radio Miami International, through their transmitters in Okeechobee, Florida, at 9455 kilohertz. Since this is our first broadcast, I want to go over the schedule and the format for the program. And I'm going to give the schedule in Eastern Time. First off, this is going to be a monthly broadcast, and it is going to be rebroadcast every week after until the start of the month when a new broadcast will come out. And of course, it'll be on 9455 kilohertz. So the broadcast will be Friday evenings at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, and I'll go through the rest of the time zones here. So 11 p.m. Eastern, so that'll be 10 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Alaska Time, and 6 p.m. in Hawaii Time. I'll also give the UTC time schedule. For those familiar with shortwave, UTC is a standard. That's the Coordinated Universal Time. So UTC, the programs will be Saturdays at 0400 UTC, and of course on 9455 kilohertz. Now we'll go over and we'll talk about our content and the format of the broadcast. This is VOSR, the voice of shortwave radio. So our content is going to be all things shortwave. Anything about shortwave radio, we'll get some time on here. And we'll talk about radios. We'll talk about equipment. We'll even talk about other programming that's out there that people are listening to. One thing I want to mention before I move on is that when I'm talking about specific radios or equipment, brands, I have no affiliation with any manufacturer or any brand. I'm not getting any compensation. These are all just my opinions, and there'll also be the opinions of our listeners when I go over reader comments, reader emails. So no compensation or affiliation with any manufacturer or brand. So for our format, each broadcast will be broken up into segments. Each segment will have a theme, and the theme, just to give some examples, we'll have one on shortwave radios, where I'll talk about a specific model or brand of shortwave. I'll talk about its features and if I have personal experience with it. We'll also have another segment on classic radios. It'll be the same thing. We'll go over all the features of the classic radios from that era, that nostalgic era from gone by, where you have those older tube radios or some of the older transistors that everybody just loves to use and listen to shortwave on, and just to bring back that nostalgia. Also equipment. We'll talk about equipment. We'll talk about antennas, headphones, anything that helps you listen to shortwave. We'll also have guests. We'll have guests come on. We'll have guests even do a segment if they like. If they have an idea for a segment, guests can come on and take over one of our segments here. So if anybody has any ideas for any guests they want me to talk to, or if you have an idea as a guest to take on and do a segment, shoot me an email and we'll go over it and see if we can get it on the air. That email to contact me would be VOSRINT@yahoo.com. Again, that email is VOSRINT@yahoo.com. So some of these segments will be reoccurring. Some of them will run a few broadcasts. Some will be on every broadcast. One thing for sure, one segment is the communications broadcast segment will be on every broadcast. That one will show up every time. That's the most important one. That's where I get your feedback, where you guys can take over the broadcast a little bit, say what you want to say, and I'll have more about that later on in the broadcast. So now we'll start with our first segment, and that's going to be on shortwave radios. It took me a while to decide which radio to start out with for this segment. and I'll explain that as I go on here. But the first radio that I'm going to go over is the C. Crane Skywave SSB2. Now, when I was first got into shortwave, and there's kind of a little story here. First off, I live in Hawaii on the small island of Molokai. And like many places around the world, we're susceptible to natural disasters and things that could happen. Hurricanes being one of them, tidal waves, but more often we can get heavy rains and flooding, and that can cut off roads and cause problems, because on islands there's not a lot of detours, there's not a lot of other ways to travel, so you can get cut off. And I wanted a weather radio here in Hawaii. I wanted something portable, but then in thinking too, I also started researching them, and a lot of them had shortwave on it. And I was always interested in shortwave radio. So I started looking, and I also grew up in the 70s. I was a teenage kid in the 70s, and I got into the CB craze. Also, I was interested in ham, amateur radio, and I was never able to get into that. So that had my interest, and that piqued my interest too in researching all these radios. So that opened up a single sideband. I wanted to have that also. So anybody who's familiar with the radios that are available right now, there aren't a lot of radios out there that have the weather band, have single sideband and shortwave. So it did limit my choices right away. So I ended out narrowing it down to two radios, but one of them did not have the weather band, which kind of defeated the purpose of my whole starting to look for a radio. So that would mean I'd have to get either a specialized weather radio, and then I'd have two, and that's not what I was looking for. The C. Crane at that time, the Skywave SSB2, was going for $199. The other radio I was looking at is another excellent radio, the Texan PL880, and that was going for about $169. So there was quite a bit of a price difference. I went on researching for a couple weeks, and I ended up finding a place that had the Skywave SSB2 for $149. As soon as I found that, I didn't think about it anymore. It had everything I wanted, so I went ahead and ordered it. One thing about the Crane, the Skywave SSB2, it's kind of like the Swiss Army knife of radios. It has everything. I didn't even mention it. It has the air band also, which is kind of nice. So it's AM, FM, weather, air, shortwave, single sideband. It had everything. But you also know what they say about things that do everything. They usually don't do anything extremely well. So that's one thing I was worried about when I ordered the radio. So it came in about 10 days. Things take a little bit longer here than they do on the mainland. And when I got the radio, I was very happy right away as soon as I opened it up. You can just tell, and there's a lot of things like this. You can just tell in picking it up and holding it that it is quality. The plastic that it's made out of isn't you can just tell it's not a cheap plastic that's going to fracture or crack or anything like that when you compare it to some of these cheaper radios that are coming out of China. This is a very good, well thought out, put together radio. The features, I'll go over a few of the features on them and a couple of the simple ones. Now this at the time was my only radio. So I was using this as my home radio, my desktop model. And it had that little flip in the back where you can lay it over, and it's tilted at an angle for you, so you can see everything, and all the buttons are there in the right place, and easy to access. So just that. I've seen some radios that piece is so cheap that you can see I had one that just flipped right off the very first time I flipped it open. Everything on this you can just tell is quality from the get-go. The speaker, it has a small 1-inch speaker that surprisingly does sound pretty good. And then the other features that it has, it's trying to find that balance of being a portable, but then because it does everything, it's trying to be a regular desktop model or home model. But this has 500 memory presets, so you can 500 memory settings on this. There's there's no way that that you have to keep a log to have that many memory sets. So I don't use that much on this. I do have a few of them set because it's easy for me to remember my favorite stations and keep them in here. So I probably have about 5. But once you're setting all those, then you're either carrying a book with you, a notebook that has where all your stations are, or you're just not using them. It'll be another feature that won't get used as much. To me, the sleep timer is very similar. I don't use a sleep timer either. So the other great thing about this radio is the battery life. The battery life on this is excellent. Right now I'm using rechargeable nickel cadmium batteries in it, and they're lasting a couple months. And I do use this radio quite a bit. When I use the regular alkaline batteries, I think I got like 3 months of use out of those also. So the battery life is very good, and that's what you want for an emergency type radio. So excellent there. It has a clock on it that has 2 sets on it, so you can set it for your local time and the UTC, which is also another great feature. Then you can't. One thing about continue on with batteries, you can't use lithium batteries in this radio. They don't want you to be using lithiums in there. And when you're changing the batteries, when you change batteries, a lot of times if you have your memory sets in there or your presets, your clock, you're going to lose it if you change your batteries out. On this one, they give you 30 seconds to change your batteries, and then you don't lose any of your information, which is a really great feature. And I actually was watching the clock when I did mine. When I changed my batteries, I would have them right next to me here and all ready to do. It took me less than 15 seconds to get the batteries changed. So I've never had to reset my clock or reset or lose any of my memory sets. So, going into the use of the radio, this is a very sensitive radio, and it picks up a lot of good shortwave stations here. And it's really good we have a small airport here in Molokai, and I can when I'm in town, when I'm in Kaunakakai, would be about 7 miles, 8 miles from the airport, I can pick up the airport tower and the weather being given out there just with the telescopic antenna. Another feature is an external antenna jack. Which was very important to me, knowing that I was going to be using this as my home model too. I knew I would probably want to get a different antenna so I can pull in more stations on any of the bands. So this does have that too, and all of it, again, works really well. We'll move a little bit into the things that can be improved on and problems that they might have had with these. I have not had any problems with these. With this radio, but online I heard of a couple issues that people had with them, and one was the volume set. That they said after a while the volume knob got loose, or the connectivity wasn't very good, and all of a sudden the volume would either jump up or jump down a couple settings. Nothing huge, but you'd actually get a little fluctuation there. I have not had that happen to mine yet. And you can, of course, contact Crane. Another good feature with them is that they do have very good customer service. They have somebody pick up the phone. You can talk to somebody. And that's the other thing that I read online, that contacting them and them handling problems usually goes really well. Again, I haven't had any issues, so I haven't had to do that, but it's always reassuring to know that you can call them up and they would stand by their product. Now I'll go into a couple of things that they're on the negative side, but they're definitely okay for me. I definitely work around them, and why I went to different radios for different situations is, I guess, how I want to say it. First off is the sound. You only have this 1-inch speaker, and while it gives pretty good sound, it's not that great. Of course, you got that little bit of tinniness, so it especially you hear it on music. You don't have those soft tones, and there are no adjustments for it here. You just have your volume adjustment. But again, it is a portable radio, so you can kind of forgive that. And probably the main thing for me in using this, especially as a desk model or as my main radio, is that it is the layout of the buttons. And like I said, it's about the size of a deck of cards, so it's very small. And a lot of these buttons are double-use buttons or multiple-use buttons, where you'll have to hit them 2 times to get to the function that you want. So that makes it a little bit cumbersome. It doesn't make it as intuitive as a lot of other radios, the bigger radios that are desktop models. And again, it's probably an unfair comparison, but it is something to keep in mind if this is going to be your main radio. I have fat fingers. Sometimes it's hard for me to get on the right button, or I'll miss it. But being the way it's put together, all the buttons have worked flawlessly. But just because they're multi-use, and you do kind of get used to where things are after a while, and some of the buttons you don't use very often, that's when you have to more take a look and make sure that you're on the right one. So if you're using this as your main radio, I just think the small size, which is the great thing for an emergency situation, is kind of a hindrance when you use it as your main radio. So to me, this definitely got moved to my portable radio, the one that I take somewhere if I'm going somewhere. If I go on vacation, I'll take this, and I don't have a problem taking it. I wanted to mention what came with the radio. And there was quite a few things that did come with it. It came with a nice set of earbuds. So the C. Crane earbuds, they're very good. And it's got the headphone jack. So those were excellent. They came with it. It also came with I believe it's like a 10-foot retractable wire external antenna that has a clip that you can clip it up onto something and then plug it into the external jack. So, that's excellent. A lot of places, a lot of other brands don't give those features. Another thing they gave you was another jack that you can use to make a long wire adapter. That you plug it into the external jack, and then it has two spots on there where you can clip a long wire on, and run your long wire, and then there's a ground side also. So again, if you're in a spot where you can take advantage of using a long wire, that is definitely a great feature to have, and it was awesome that they included that. I live in a condo, so I don't really have much choice to use a long wire, but I'm still been experimenting with them. But that is a good feature to have, and something a lot of people will be able to use and take advantage of. One of the bigger negatives about this radio, this is probably one of my main beefs with it only. And it is somewhat significant being a portable radio. It also comes with a faux leather carrying case, and it's got Velcro on it, and it just flaps over. The power button here is right in if you're looking at the main face of the main dial, is at the upper right corner. And when you put this in your pocket, whether you have it in the leather case, or if you just have it in your pocket, where the position of that power button is, very often is where you're grabbing the radio. So you can turn it on by mistake. So if you got your volume really low or off, and you hit that power button when you're grabbing the radio, you can mistakenly turn it on. And I've had this happen to me a couple times. And I've had it happen with the in the case and not in the case. Both times that I did it, I had the volume on fairly loud, so it was obvious. But of course, it made me jump a little bit. But just that inadvertently turning it on and off, that is kind of a problem. It's something to be aware of, especially when you're using this as a portable unit. So all in all in, I'm really happy with this C crane. It, again, while it doesn't do everything, all the bands excellent, it does them all pretty well. I don't really think that you can complain about this way this radio works. It's really built well, built by a good company that's been around for a long time, and I would definitely recommend the C crane, especially if you can pick one up fairly cheap. And the main feature is that the Swiss Army feature where it has all the bands. And if you want to have all that, go ahead and give the crane a try. So if anybody has a C crane, Skywave SSB2, or thinking about getting one, if you have any comments, go ahead and send them in. Send me an email at VOSRINT@yahoo.com. That email address again is VOSRINT@yahoo.com. Just put in Crane Radio or Skywave into the subject line and give me your comments. Tell me what you think about the radio if you have it, or about other radios maybe you chose instead of it, and we'll read some of those on the air during the next broadcast. So now we'll move over to the communication segment. The communication segment is going to be the most important segment for me, because it's going to be my chance to listen to the listeners and find out what they want to hear. They can leave their comments. I can find out where the broadcast is going to begin with. There aren't any numbers for this type of thing, so the only way I'll know that people are listening is with communication. So there's a few ways that you'll be able to communicate with me and be able to get some of your comments on the air. I set up a few social media contacts. I have a few of those. A couple of them aren't tied to VOSR, but they have shortwave radio content on there, so you might be interested. I'm only going to give these on this first initial broadcast here. But I do have a Facebook page that I just set up, and that is VOSR International. You can go over there and you can leave comments. So comments from there can make it onto the air. And I'll post any updates if there's going to be any scheduling changes or for anything else that's coming up on the broadcast. I'll have posts on there too. I also have a Reddit group, and my Reddit subgroup is Grundig Shortwave Radio. That is Grundig Shortwave Radio. And on that, the title says Grundig, but any shortwave radios are welcome. There's a nice group of people on there that post reception videos. They'll post questions on issues that they're having or questions on radios. So everybody can share their opinions. And it's a nice group. So you can go over there and join on Reddit. And it is Grundig Shortwave Radios. Next, I have a YouTube channel, and it is Wavecrest Guy. That is WAVECREST, and then GUY, Wavecrest Guy. And on there, I have a lot of videos on there, and I'll have when I get a new radio in, I'll do an unboxing video. I'll do a video of me going through the features. So I'll do a review in parts. I'll also do that with equipment too. I do it for antennas or any other equipment that I happen to get. And I also put a lot of reception videos on there. I really find that reception videos can be really helpful, especially, I live in Hawaii. You'll know my equipment. You'll know the time. I always show the time on my videos in local time and in UTC. And you can see how I'm getting my reception here. It's always good to be able to compare that. I am limited here with my antenna choices, so you'll be able to even take that into account. and it's good for somebody to hear what I'm getting over here and how they're getting the same channel and frequency in their location, and you can do a comparison. So I always find reception videos really helpful. So go on over to Wavecrest Guy, and you can subscribe and you can check out all those videos. I have over 1,000 videos on there. Now we'll move over to our main sources for communication to VOSR. The first one's going to be our website, VOSRinternational.com. That's VOSRinternational.com. Go over there. There's a section you can sign up for a newsletter. You just put your email address in there. Anytime there's a post or any update to the website, you'll get an email, and then you can go and check it out when you have time. And I'll also have segments in there for after a broadcast. I'll mention something during a broadcast, a radio or a station or something like that, and I will put some pictures on there so you can see visually what I'm talking about also. So there'll be a couple of those later on in the broadcast here coming up too, that I will have some information and some pictures on there that you can check out. So when you go over to the website, like I said, on the bottom of the page, you can sign up for the newsletter. There's also an icon there for email. So just click on that. It'll go to your email. You send the email in. Always put in, try to put something in the subject line that'll help me sort them out, like a reception report or comments or just saying hi, or if it's about answering certain questions during the broadcast that I may pose in each segment. So if on the last segment on C. Crane, if you want to put down your comments about if you have one or thinking about getting one or any comments you might have about it, just put in C. Crane or Skywave SSB2 in there, and that'll help me out and be able to sort them to try to get them onto the air. And then the simplest way to contact us is going to be just regular old email. You'll pop open your email, and I've given this a few times, but I'll do it again. The email address here is VOSRINT@yahoo.com. One more time, that's VOSRINT@yahoo.com. And again, we're looking for any type of communication. Any type of communication will be helpful. Send a message just to say hi. Tell us about what you think of the show. Tell us about a segment or any comments that you have about a segment. All those are welcome. And then an important one for me will be reception reports. On the reception reports, make sure you put down your location. That is going to be my biggest help, so I know where the broadcast is reaching. So if you send out the reception report, put your location in. And then, we're all shortwave radio listeners here, so we like to hear about what everybody's listening on, what communications equipment, what radios are you using. So give us some information about that. Tell us what radio you're using. Tell us which antenna. And like I said, I'll be reading some of these on the air every month. And we'll just do shout-outs, too, for people who are listening and just wanted to say hi. So send in those emails, and it's going to be extremely helpful to move the broadcast into the direction that the listeners want, so I can try to get some content on here that everybody wants to listen to. So now we'll move on to the next segment, programming. What are people listening to on shortwave? So this segment here, I'm going to pick some stations, some segments of programming that I try to listen to, that are part of my schedule that I really enjoy listening to. And as I get communications in from listeners, I will add what you guys are listening to. We'll get that information out. There's probably a lot of programming out there that people enjoy, and we want to make sure that the word gets out so others can enjoy it too. And this will be the best way to do that. So for this week, we're going to talk about WWVH, the Coordinated Universal Time station in Hawaii. One of the main reasons a lot of people use these Coordinated Universal Time stations is when they're working on their equipment or when they're checking on something. These broadcasts are very consistent. They're always there. They're broadcasting at the same frequency. Of course, you're going to have differences in propagation and your location and things like that. but if you use them often enough, you know how you usually get them in. So a lot of people use these stations. There's the one here in Hawaii. There's the one in Colorado. Canada's got the CHU. So I'm sure that they're all over the place. So send us send us a comment in on that, and tell us which one you usually tune into, which one you use. And if you use it for time, or if you use it as a station that has a consistent broadcast to check out how everything's operating. So tell us how you use those. So one of the reasons why I end up using it most of the time is that I live on a small island, like I said, and we lose power here quite a bit. We lose power from 6 to 10 times a year, usually for over an hour. It's usually not a short time frame. So I'm resetting my clocks a lot. I'll have to reset the clock on my radio and then the stove and the microwave. So I still have to go around and I got to change these times. So the first thing I usually always do when we lose power is I'll go over to the Radio Shack DX 394 here. I'll tune that in to 2500 kilohertz, or usually 5000 works the best here, 5000 kilohertz. But I'll turn that on, get the time, and I'll use that time to set the rest of my clocks in the house. So I do use it a lot for that. But then again, I also use it when I'm testing antennas or anything else. So very useful tool to have. And so everybody should really, if you don't know what's around you for that, check it out, and let us know what they are, and let us know how you use it. So why I picked this one, this station first, was because around mid-January, we lost power at about 6 p.m. And then I ended up going to bed later. I usually stay up around midnight or a little after. Power still wasn't restored. So I went to bed, and sometime during the middle of the night, I did hear the power kick back on. And I got up and did the ritual. I went around and changed all the radios in the condo. Started out, of course, with the DX394. I went to 2500. It was kind of fading a little bit, but it was still listenable. But I popped over to 5000 kilohertz, and it was much more steady. So I ended up using that. And then I changed the clocks on the stove and microwave. But I got to thinking, we're going to be going to Kauai in May. We're going to just go on vacation. We've been going there for years. And we're going to be heading over there. And I know this is the station is in Keikaha on the west side of the island over by Barking Sands Military Base. And I was wondering if we can go over there and check it out. At the very least, I figured that we'd be able to go check out and see if there's some antennas that I could take a picture of or something like that. But I was hoping that maybe we can get a tour. So I went over and Googled it, of course. And the website is NIST.gov. And that came up, and then there was a link, time distribution. So then it also listed radio station WWVH. And then I clicked on that, and then I got the more information just about that station. I recommend everyone go check it out. There's a lot of information on there, not only on the one in Hawaii, but the one in Colorado, why it was set up, the history of it. It's all very interesting and worth going over. When I was looking in there and checking everything out, I did notice a link for a reception report. So I just set my clock, so I figured, okay, I'll hit that. So I clicked on that. My email opened up with their email already in it. Their email is wwvh@nist.gov. That's wwvh@nist.gov. So I filled out a reception report. I said that I was on the frequency at 2500. It wasn't as strong as the 5000 kilohertz frequency. And then I just casually mentioned that, we lose power here quite often. And I always set all the clocks in our house to WWVH. And so it was pretty quick, and I sent that off and didn't even give it a second thought. And I continued on with checking out the website, and so I did look in there. about possibly doing a tour, and it did say on the website that they currently were not doing any type of tour, and so we're gonna still take a ride out there. It is quite a ride. We're gonna be on the east side in Kapa'a, and so it's all the way on the west side. But we're gonna go ahead and take a ride out there. I'll get some pictures. I'll end up posting those on the website here at VOSR international.com. And so you'll be able to see the pictures when we go in May. So those will probably be up in June. So we're going to take a ride out and check it out. And it should be a really interesting trip. So anyways, I forget about the email. And about 10 days go by. And I go out to grab our mail. And I've got a fairly decent-sized envelope that comes from the U.S. Department of Commerce NIST radio station WWVH from Kekaha, Hawaii. So they answered my reception report, and I got a little packet of stuff, and I'll go over that in a minute. I don't know if they do that to everyone. I don't know if they did it to me because I was, I'm in Hawaii, but it was a really nice put together packet. And of information and just a couple extra goodies in there that I'll go over here in a minute. So I was really surprised and happy to see that in the mail. So let us know if anyone else has sent a reception report to any of these coordinated universal time stations, and if you've gotten a response, and if they sent anything back to you, whether it be in the mail, snail mail, or whether it was EQSL or something to that effect. So let us know, and we'll read some of those on the air. So let's go over the packet and what they sent me for sending in my reception report. First off, there's a little small credit card sized laminated, it's almost like a piece of plastic, metric conversion card. And it's actually done up by them. It's done up by NIST. And it's a conversion card going from metric to imperial. And on the other side, it goes to imperial to metric. On the side, it has a little ruler for centimeters on one side, millimeters on the other. So handy little card to have. And so this makes me think that they have something like this that they actually give out for sending out reception reports and this type of thing. So again, if you guys send them an email or have already done that and gotten something back, let me know. Then there's a card for communications, just a regular business card from the United States Department of Commerce, National Institute of Standards and Technology. It has the radio station on there of WWVH, their address, and then their email, their contact information, wwvh@nist.gov. The next thing is really what brought a smile to my face when I opened up the packet and started looking at the items. I had mentioned when I had sent the reception report that one of the last things I put on there is I always set all the clocks in our house to WWVH. And there's a bumper sticker or a sticker type thing in here. It's about as big as a dollar bill. And it's a sticker that says, "I set my clocks to WWVH," and put out by NIST, National Institute of Standards and Technology, and then their phone number on it. So it really, I had no idea they had something like this, and for them to have this sticker and get it in the packet, maybe that's the reason why it got sent out. I don't know, but again, maybe it goes out to everyone. But I thought that one was really neat, because I do set all my clocks in the house to WWVH. Then there is a QSL card that came with it. Of course, it's a nice postcard type picture reception report. So they put on here a radio station WWVH has a serial number that's handwritten on there, and then a date. Mine was 1/25 of 2025. Then they have 4 checkoff boxes for what frequency it was on. So I did 2,500 kilohertz and 5,000. There was also checkoffs for 10,000 and 15,000 kilohertz. And in the picture in the background, it looks like a picture of their antenna at sunset. So really nice picture there with the red sky. And on the flip side, again, it's like a postcard. On the flip side, there's a nice picture of their entrance, and you can see on the building it says WWVH, and then there's a sign out front that says U.S. Department of Commerce, National Institute of Standards and Technology, radio station WWVH. There's an antenna in the background of the picture, and some palm trees right in front. I'm hoping this is where I could at least drive to. I don't know if this is on the base and I wouldn't have access to this, or if this is somewhere I can at least drive to when I go there. If so, I'll at least be able to get a picture like this. So hopefully when I get over there, it looks like, if I can get this far, I'll get some pictures of the antennas and the surrounding area. So I look forward to that. So hopefully I'll be able to get close enough for some photos. And when I do, I will post them on the VOSRinternational.com website. Then lastly, the last piece that they gave me in the packet is a nice little brochure that kind of sums up everything. When you go on the website, there's just a ton of information all over, and of course there are sections for WWVH, and then there's other sections for the one in Colorado, and a lot of other information and things that NIST does. But this one really sums it up nicely. And looking at it, it was revised on August of 1992, but the information is definitely still valid. They do have a timeline here for WWVH, where I thought was pretty interesting. Going back to 1948, November of 1948, began broadcasts from Maui. So WWVH actually did start on Maui back in November of 1948, and then I'll go through when they moved. So a lot of people don't realize that, and actually how far back this goes. This coordinated universal time goes back to just the end of World War II. Then it goes. The next one is July of 1964 is when they began the voice announcements. So they didn't always have the voice announcements when they started this. So that was something that was added, and it's been quite a few decades now. But it started in 1964. Then July of 1971 is when they moved to Kauai. So they moved it from Maui to Kauai in 1971. And again, they've been there for decades now, and on Kauai. But it started back on Maui, and they were there for quite a while, from 1948 to 1971. Then in July, the same, when they moved to Kauai, is when they started doing the Pacific weather warnings. They actually put weather warnings on there also. So that has started in 1971. January of 1972, that is the new UTC timescale had begun. So that's quite a few years after the initial broadcast of 1948. 1972. The Coordinated Universal Timescale began. The next change happened in June of 1972, and that was the first leap second in history of time added to the UTC timescale. So they have to do that to keep everything current and as accurate as possible, and that first happened in 1972, so again, quite a while ago. Then in January of 1974, they changed the voice announcements from Greenwich Mean Time to Coordinated Universal Time. That was Greater Mountain Time to UTC. So that change happened in 1974. So you can see how things evolved from 1948 to 1974, in a span of just less than 30 years, how everything changed as things got more developed. And the system came about. Then now it's going to leap to June of 1989, and that's when the geophysical alert broadcast began, 45 minutes. So June of 1989, the geophysical alert broadcast started. Then in March of 1990, began the global positioning satellite status report announcements at 43 and 44 minutes. So they kept adding things onto this, And it continues to evolve today. You'll go there sometimes and you will hear some announcements. You'll hear some changes. And they keep tweaking the system, and we'll see how it continues on in the future. And just to let you know, too, here it'll tell you for time setting or keeping precision. If you dial in on the telephone, they have a telephone number which will give you the UTC time also, and the number is 808-335-4363. That's area code 808, that's the Hawaii area code, 335-4363, and the accuracy is down to 0.05 second. And then the WWVH broadcast, the accuracy to that is 0.001 second. Then the GOES satellites, the accuracy is 100 microseconds. VLF is the accuracy is 3 to 25 microseconds. The LORAN-C is 1 to 8 microseconds, and the GPS satellites is down to 0.1 microseconds. Just literally amazing. It also goes on to talk about the WWVH continuous broadcast and their frequency. So the frequency of 2,500 kilohertz, that is broadcast out at 5 kilowatts. And it has a half-wave antenna that's omnidirectional. And the coverage is listed as a ground wave and local, which of course makes sense why when I sent in my reception report, that was the one and it always does. It always comes in. It's always weaker. It always has a little bit. It can be affected by interference a little bit more. It's always strong enough to definitely hear. You can definitely hear the tones. You can definitely hear the person talking if there's any talking going on. But you can always tell that it's a little weaker signal. Then it goes to 5,000 kilohertz, and that radiated power is 10 kilowatts. So that's twice the power of the 2,500 kilowatt frequency. Now that one is a directional array, half-wave antenna, directional array antenna, and then the coverage is skip hemisphere. So that's why that one will cover quite a bit more area and people will pick it up. It's probably quite a bit tougher for anybody to get the 2,500 kilohertz. Let me know if you're located somewhere, if you've picked up the 2,500 kilohertz. It'll be interesting to see what would be the farthest somebody would be able to pick up that signal. I'm not all that far from Kauai. I'm probably 50 miles, somewhere in that area. So it's not that long for me. But with the skip hemisphere on the other frequencies, you'll be able to get those quite a bit farther. So it'd be interesting to see who's picking up the 2,500 kilohertz. Then under the same directional array and the skip hemisphere, there's the frequency of 10,000 kilohertz that is also rated at 10 kilowatts. And then the 15,000 kilohertz is also rated at 10 kilowatts, and those are both directional arrays and skip hemispheres. So then there's a little summary here that they give, so it gives you kind of the history moving where it started and where it is now. So after serving the Pacific area for 23 years from the island of Maui, radio station WWVH was relocated to the western edge of the island of Kauai. This modern $1.2 million facility is located on 30 acres near Kakaha at Kokole Point. Around the clock, continuous broadcast services from Hawaii supplement those from WWVH in Fort Collins, Colorado, by providing principal coverage in the Pacific Basin. So that was their thinking about continuing and putting another one over here in Hawaii. It was to increase that coverage where there was a gap from the transmission from Colorado. So 3 atomic frequency standards at WWVH provide optimum timekeeping ability. These atomic clocks are accurate to 1/1,000,000th of a second per month, and variations are held within 5 microseconds of the National Institute of Standards and Technology UTC timescale. So again, you see the accuracy that we're working with here. The U.S. primary standard is maintained by the Time and Frequency Division, National Institute of Standards and Technology in Boulder, Colorado. At WWVH, only one clock is on the air at any given time. The other two permit clock intercomparisons and emergencies are for standby service. So they have other clocks ready in case there are issues. They can swap out, but they are on standby. So in cases of an emergency, they're ready to switch over and continue on with this continuous service. Several synchronization methods are used to keep the WWVH clocks in step with NIST Boulder standards. WWVB and LORAN monitoring, GOES and GPS satellites and portable clocks, and I had mentioned that earlier. All that are working hand in hand to keep the accuracy that's needed for this time system. A time code generator allows recorded voices and special announcements to be programmed automatically into the broadcast format. This information provides modularization through a synthesizer for the 4 standard broadcast frequencies, which are accurate to a few parts of 1 in 1,000,000. A female voice announced WWVH's time, thus allowing the distinction from WWV's male voice. So that was done on purpose, so you can tell the difference between the two, that there is a female voice from the broadcast on Kauai in Hawaii, and there's a male voice coming out of Colorado. The RF signals are amplified through high-power transmitters and fed to the antenna systems. The antennas are modified half-wave dipole phase arrays, with the exception of the 2,500 kilohertz and standby monopoles. And now here is kind of the interesting thing that I noticed right away. The last sentence in this brochure is the public is invited to visit WWVH during working hours. So the website says it doesn't, which is probably more current than this pamphlet. I'm sure with all the visitors that Hawaii has, they're not going to just want a bunch of people, stopping in there. But again, when I go over there, I'm going to be checking it out and get as close as I possibly can and be able to get some pictures. But if I am able to get in, I will definitely be posting more pictures and talk about that. I'll probably have a segment about that visit if I can get in, and maybe if I get enough information when I go there, even if I don't get in, I still might have another segment on it. So again, this was a really nice little brochure that has a ton of information on it. Then there's also a broadcast format that they list here for how the broadcast actually goes. And so from 0 to 45 second, there's your tone. The tone goes out. And then at 45 seconds to 52.5 seconds is the UTC voice announcement. And then from 52.5 seconds to 60 is silent except for a tick when they give the beep of what the actual time is. So it's all synchronized, coordinated, and goes the same way all the time. So you really, that's the nice thing about this broadcast. You kind of know where they're at all the time, and that's why a lot of people use it, not only for timekeeping, but for checking their radio equipment. I want to give a little information about the antennas that they have and that they use there also. It says from 2000 to 2007, NIST installed a new antenna encased in fiberglass rather than the steel support mast, and it makes it easier for any repairs, and it's a lot safer too because it's easier for them to lower them and to do any maintenance and make any repairs. And anybody who lives on the coast or by the ocean is aware of the issues that can cause with anything metal. It really takes its toll. So this probably saves them quite a bit. And again, this didn't happen until the year 2000 and 2007. And that's why they had a couple different backup systems to be able to use in case there were issues, because this definitely caused some downtime for some of their equipment. The new antennas are flexible and lighter, so they are easily lowered, reducing safety hazard, and thus does reduce the downtime. Now, for the 5,000 kilohertz, that antenna system consists of halfway phased array vertical antennas. So that system's a little bit different than the rest of them. So the 2,500 kilohertz, the 10,000 kilohertz, and the 15,000 kilohertz antennas are base-fed vertical monopoles that are omnidirectional. So that's the big difference between the frequencies and the antennas that they're using. Each frequency has a vertical monopole standby antenna that is connected to standby transmitters in the event of a primary system failure. So they put themselves in a position knowing that there's going to be some issues, so they have the proper backups so they can keep the whole system running continuously without interruption. That's their goal. So it's pretty rare that they are down, but when they do, they have the backups, and then they can switch it over as quickly as possible. Lastly, the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, the NOAA, also broadcasts information of the current conditions for high-frequency radio communications on there at 45 minutes after the hour on WWVH. So at 45 minutes after the hour, they'll give you the current conditions, and those conditions are updated every 3 hours. That information itself will probably be another future segment because there's a lot of information in there. But just to know that you can go there and get that information, check it out. It's going to be very helpful for you to know that information when you're trying to gauge your reception in certain areas and comparing your equipment. So that concludes our segment on WWVH. I hope you enjoyed it and received some useful information from it. Feel free to check out their website for more information. And feel free to send in any comments about the segment or questions. Send them to VOSRINT@yahoo.com. That's VOSRINT@yahoo.com. Or you can go on our website at VOSRinternational.com and click on the mail button. And mail will pop up, and you can send a response that way. So give us comments, give us questions. We'd love to hear your feedback about the segment. That concludes the first broadcast of VOSR International, the voice of shortwave radio. I hope you enjoyed it. This show will be rebroadcast on 9455 kilohertz every Friday at 11 p.m. Eastern Time until our next broadcast, which will air on Friday, March 6th at 11 p.m. Eastern on 9455 kilohertz. Ahui ho, everyone.